What's going on, guys? It's your boy Cash, and we are here today in the blankness that we're going to be going into different gacha games. Oh wait, oh no. Smoke Detector Senpai says hi. Anyway, what we're going to be discussing here today is something very quick. I wanted to go over stuffing with you guys and really get you guys' opinion. And if there's any other gacha topics you guys would like to me discuss, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. But I want to get straight into this issue. Not really an issue, but something that has always been on my mind is the gear system in gacha games, and why is it so dumb? And I don't I try to be nice about these things, and I know some people think that I'm being super greedy and stuff like that, or you're gonna ruin the game. But let's just go into a couple of games, and I want to talk about what I like and dislike about it. And let's go over a game that just released that they're changing their gear system technically. Dislike. So let me go into dislike. Now dislike, the next update that they have coming in a couple days. Oh, look at it, it's all fancy. Look, Bloody Hunt unlocks in 5 days. Now, when you want gear in this game, right, what you would do is that you would go over to, oh my god, I have a jillion things highlight. Oh, it's so shiny. Oh, let me actually be clear. You can actually do this as well, right? There's a auto farm for gear. I actually really like this, to be completely honest, that it's just something that you just set your team up to do. They'll go fight random stuff to get gear. I love doing this as much as I possibly can. So I do like this aspect, and I think that what we're going to be going over is multiple different ways to obtain something that you really like, right? Or something that you feel like your account needs. And gear is something that you definitely need. But the main way of getting gear, especially if you have stamina is very common in gacha games, right? I would go over to the Ritual Miracle, and then and this is what we're used to, right? We are completely used to this, right? You go into one specific dungeon, and the dungeon this one has 6 in this one, 6 in this one, and I'm sure 6 in this one. Okay, yeah. So these are completely different sets here, and that's normally how most gachas work. That's why I started with dislike, and it's just because that they just decided to reveal that the ratio of their certain rune sets. So for example, this rune set here was dropping more often than some of the other ones, or more specifically this one, which is a speed set. And everyone knows that speed is kind of king in most of these games. Going first allows you to go first and disrupt, go first and protect, go first and do whatever the heck you want to do. It's usually the best option. Going second team is harder, even if we're going with Yu-Gi-Oh! Going second, it's always hard to do. I know most of you guys might not play Yu-Gi-Oh, but there's a lot of advantages that the person going first in most games, most strategic anything, you have a lot. So they were pretty much, for some reason, not having the speed set drop as higher. So they said, well, my fault, man. I'm so bad. We gonna make sure that speed set coming out a little bit harder, right? So my issue again is, you guys don't. One of the things that I hate in most games or most anything is RNG progression, and gear systems in most gacha games are RNG progression, because technically, if you're a gacha vet, right? If you're a gacha vet, you know about broken sets. You know that you don't necessarily need to always complete the 4 or the 2 or something like that. Stats matter. Stats are literally the best thing. Even if you can't get a speed set 25%, but if you can get as much speed as that is across all your other gear pieces, you don't need to run the speed set. Also, if you can get it, and then instead of running speed and get something else, you could do that. So my point here is that in this game, this is one of the ones that I necessarily, not that I don't like it, but it's the most standard, right? So I think that this would be a good starting point and good base. Now, the thing that I want to change, and you guys can disagree with me about this as you want, is that you can see here that there are 3 things. I think Summoner's War, maybe near the ending cycle of it, I think had 6. And six variants of 6 to drop from here, I think is a little bit higher. They had 6 dungeons, right? So I actually wouldn't mind, and this might be more hectic for some people. I feel like it's very easy for the devs to do this. So this is what I think about this system first, is that there should be more dungeons and there should be less variants as far as what you can get out of the thing. Now, especially because most gacha games, they do the 4-piece and the 2-piece, right? So even if they were to just split the 4 pieces and then split the 2 pieces, right? Maybe these 3 are a more offensive dungeon, this one's a more defensive dungeon. One you have to actually use more strategy. It gives them more bosses to make people have to fight for more things. Some people might not like that, but I like it because it allows you to lower the RNG of what you're getting. Because if I finish out a Chronos run right now, I might not get this. You know what? Let's just, I'll let one run go. See you guys in a second, and we'll see which of the magical of the 6 that I magically get. All right, we're coming near the end of it. KO. All right, sweet. So let's see. Like I said, it's out of 6, right? So we got, funny enough, we got the speed one, and then we also got the other one that they that said that it's coming out. So just by going by this, can I still click that? Okay, cool. This is fantastic. Awesome. So this one's even worse is because not only do you have the variance of the 6 that I just showed you, right? You also have the variance of the substats being random. Now, most of the time you see that this thing is 6-starred or 6 leveled, whatever you want to call it. It's different in every game. Normally what that would be is that it would be maxed out. So let me go find a rune that is that, right? So you know exactly what I'm talking about. They call it, I think, a superior rune, which there was an event and I didn't even use the reroll system. I completely forgot. I mean, it only let you do it 3 times. I mean, like, what is the realness of that? Like, so now this one you can see started off as 2, just like that. As you level these up, they will actually grow into certain stuff. So this one I just leveled up for the HP bonus. That's pretty much all I did it for. But this one, as you can see, started off with, well, you can't really see it's maxed out 3, but let me go into these, and you can see some of them that are, this one's a 3. So you can see that it starts off with 3. Now, normally in most games, do I even have a 4? I don't even know. Here we go, found one. So normally this is what it would look like. Oh, they call it flawless, sorry. So this is a flawless rune on the right side, right? So you would have this, and it would be that it starts off with 4, so as soon as you level it to +3, and that's what they always do, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, right? So as soon as I level this up, I don't mean, is this even a good rune? Probably not. This, oh, see, this is the defense, it's a triangle, so it's in this upper left. So these 1, 2, 3 always are flat stats, so you don't have to worry about that. And that's how most gachas work again. So this one, healing proficiency, this one's terrible. If it runs into speed or accuracy, I'm fine, right? So I'm just gonna go straight up to 3, nice quality of life here, and we'll see exactly which of those things did it actually hit into. And then you would kind of go by that, like, okay, it went into accuracy. So that's not bad. You know, like, there are a decent amount of healers that can use this and might need some accuracy to land a strip, or maybe they have a debuff on one of their skills for some reason. So I would keep leveling this up. Now, the problem, as you can see, that is that if you have ones that are like this, is that the 3 doesn't drop into any of those categories. The 3 is going to, or the 6 or whatever, will unlock a new thing and then unlock a new thing. So technically these you don't even want to mess with. So that's one issue that I feel like this has. It's like it makes the gear like really crappy. That you have to get a lot of them just to get one that's decent, and like you end up leveling up what you don't want, and that's what I don't like about it. You leveling up stuff that you really don't want. You're really hoping that you might luck out possibly to get something, but obviously at the end of the day, the main stat is usually what's more important. This main stat is usually what you're going for, usually gonna make the most impact, yada yada. That, like, I don't mind the different dungeons or whatever like that. Like I said, I wish that they had more so you can lessen the variance, but I also don't think that you should ever have it like this where, you know, the substats are randomized. Like, you can get a 6-star, like this one, a 6-star thing, which means it's the highest rolls for the main stat, but then this is random. And it doesn't even, like in Epic 7, in which Epic 7 is different, like even if you get a 2, that means the first 2 rolls will go into those 2 things. So they do it a little bit differently. This one, they level up they open all the slots and then they start leveling up. Meanwhile, in Epic 7, they do it that whatever you have there level up. So sometimes people will say, hey, I want crit rate and accuracy like you see over here. I'm just gonna level up and get crit, try to get an extra thing in crit rate, and then proceed from there. But let's go into Counterside and find a completely different way of getting gear. What the hell is going on in Counterside? Do I gotta do another summon video? Come on, man. I'm oh my god. Oh god. They did Unispring Awaken unit. Oh my god. Okay, I need to get out of here. What the what's going on? Yo, Counterside's nuts. Counterside is nuts. Anyway, we're here to talk about gear. So the difference here in this game and how they do gear in this game is that you actually just you do it in a completely different way. There is no gear dungeon in here. So what they actually do is that you craft it, right? So I'm gonna go to HQ and I'm gonna go to my workshop, and this is where I farm my gear. So every once in a while I'm gonna just clear it here so you guys can see, but this is the end result, which is good. You can see the end result of it. But that's not gear. So here's gear. So I only did one because I'm a scrub. I was trying to see something. Stop it. All right, so the gear here is, I guess you could think about it in whatever way that you want to think about it, right? So that made no sense. I hate that I even said it like that. So here's gear. You also have raid gear, which is tier 5 to 7. And that's all I'm going to talk about. This is like a crafting system, so there's other options to do, but this is normally what I want to do. I'm going to normally want to craft gear. You can see here that this one's 5. What is it? Clicking on this. Okay, here, cool. So I can show it. So same thing. I said I keep forgetting that it's not just these games. So as you can see, tier 5, right? Tier 5, but it's also a blue rarity. And it's also, okay, it doesn't really show it. Also purple and also yellow. Obviously the highest will have the most substats, and then as you go down this. So these are, you're just gonna toss these away because you're only gonna be leveling this up mainly for the main stat of it, so same thing. So when I throw it into this system, right, I'm basically trying to get that much gear. So let's go with this raid tier, blah, blah. And we can also see here, tier 7, right? And it's showing us some really good stuff. And this is from doing certain content. So what the difference here? Oh, I can only do one. Okay, I can only do one of that. And let's craft some of this, right? So the difference here is that it's not necessarily, it is a dungeon. There is something else that I have to farm. And as you can see, I have options here to do like either the accessory mold, the armor mode, the weapon mode, same thing with here, weapon mode, armor mode, accessory mode, and then universal. They have another one here, right? So how do I get those things? Like I have to go find where those things are made. So normally it would be like, like I said, you have to farm a bunch of dungeons. So this one actually has an even wider variance of things, because it's like as you can see, it's like it's just there's 3 type of units in this game, which is mech, soldier, counter, right? And then each of them have a weapon. So supply operation. So if you were paying attention to it, you'll see that it's from here. So for the basic farming, I would need to do this stage, right? This stage right here has this. I have 269, you guys just saw. So what's cool about Encounter side that I really like is that I don't really have to farm the dungeon. As you saw, I did a cut from playing this light that I was playing. I needed to farm the dungeon, I have to farm it multiple different times, and then I have to do that. So in here, instead, what I'm able to do is just like to instantly clear it, because I've already cleared it with my highest thing. This is very similar to Exo's Heroes. Once you get a strong enough team, once you can clear a certain power level that they did, that's how Exo's Heroes did. They did a certain power level, then you could just auto clear it. The problem with that is that what I like about difference with this Encounter side, as you can see, these characters are not as strong as my team 1. My team 1 CP, there we go, 8727. This one is 7,000. It's obviously weaker, but since I cleared it with this team, I don't need, well, not specifically this team, but since I cleared it with this team, I can use a weaker team, and then they'll get the proper EXP, and it also allows me to still get the thing that I want. So I'm just gonna clear this up to, 10 times, boom. And then it's gonna happen instantaneously. I get 195 of those things, plus some random gear farming as I'm doing that, but still more RNG. These are 4s, I need at least 5 and above, right, to make anything reasonable. So then we have that. So now I can go back to that other menu, and then I can craft more gear. Then the other one that they showed you was from a different thing. I think it's from the raid aspect of the game, right? So what I'm trying to say is that there are different ways that different games do gear, and there's way more different ways. There's the AFK games that do gear. I just think that the best way to go about these things specifically is to do it in a way that allows the player to have a little bit more choice. I think that, like I said, more dungeons. So that one, it's like they could have had it that you craft, and I actually wanted to show the crafting specifically because I think that crafting is a really cool way, but actually like legitimately crafting in the thing. So I wish that I can go here, regardless of how you farm the materials, right, or make the team, and then I could specify exactly what I want. And it says mold. I actually love that it says mold, because I completely forgot that it says mold. So let's say, and like you show here, right? So you only see these 3 types, right? This is for counter, soldier, mech. Now other games, they don't do that. There's no gear that's specified to a tank, gear that's specified to attacker, ranger, mage, whatever like that. They just do that specifically in this game. Epic 7 does their artifacts like that. Like they have specific artifacts that are tailored to specific groups. They do it here with the gear. I don't like that necessarily, because then you get something really good, but it's for a mech, and it's like, I really wish I can get that on my counter, because there's no difference really between the three of them outside of like other weird things that they have in the game. So just so you guys can see what I'm talking about, so this character is a counter, right? So she's a counter, so she has gear. I put her on this set. Let me just change just so you can see, like, there's so many. There's anti-ranger, there's evasion, there's anti-supporter, there's anti-tower, there's let's see, plain regular defense, good old hit accuracy, health. They have a lot of different variants, and it's only coming from that one little source there. So I personally don't like that aspect of this game, because you just throw your resources in and you kind of hope that you get something out of it, and I feel like that's just really not a good way of doing it. I feel like you're gonna spend, and I've heard people complain about counter-sides gear, and I feel like that's exactly why they're complaining, because it's just that random. It's just that random whether you're gonna get it for, let's say, if you're, and a lot of this stuff, I feel like I have a decent amount of counter stuff. I don't even know what I have for mechs or soldiers, because like most of the units that are advertised and used are going to be the counters, you know. So I have let me look. See, look, I have mech stuff that weren't even in that same thing. Like, oh look, I got some decent mech stuff out here, but I had no idea, because I don't really use mechs. I don't like that system either. I think that all gear should be universal between each character, but I also do like that they do have mechs and things like that, but that's not what we're here to talk about. One, let me know what you guys think about that. Like, I feel like you should have a mold, and I think the mold should be actually these. So if I wanna, like, either, like I said, you can have the dungeon. I wouldn't mind having a HP dungeon. So if you want the HP set, you have to do the HP dungeon, and then you would get only gear drops from that will specifically drop HP, and then you could do that other variants. I'm not gonna say that you should get it all, because then everyone hates me. Everyone hates me when I said you should be able to just have more control over everything. So I think there should be some more of a balance, but more balanced tiering in our favor, because we're the ones playing the game. The dev, in my personal opinion, doesn't get anything out of this being more difficult from us outside of playtime, right? Because they do actually get money out of it if you're really thinking about it, because the harder it is to get gear, the more that they can sell you a gear pack, right? Or sell you more stamina so you can farm more. So there is an incentive to it, which I, again, don't like, obviously, but I think that people would play more if they had more to play with. I feel like, yes, the way a perfect world is that you would be able to specifically craft exactly what you want, like down to the T. This is exactly what I want. I can change these sub stats. As you can see, these are like the yellow, right? So yellow, you can see these two things here. I go down to blue, there's only one, and then you go down to white, there's the one, but actually I don't really know. Wait, purple is this is I don't freaking know, dude. I have no, I guess maybe it's these tiers. These yellow is like super good. I don't honestly know how they do. No idea. No idea how counter-side works outside of me just matching up the things, and it should be more simplistic, to be fair. But I really think that they could just change these ways of doing gear to make it a more enjoyable experience and a less grindy experience. I really think that they do this for playtime, and it's really good, because if you have a lot of people playing daily, you keep your daily numbers up, and it shows, it helps out, because a lot of people look at that and they'll see whether or not the game is dead. They'll base it off of that. But I feel like more people will play if they can build more of their units and have more things to build on, and that also goes into level progression. How long did it take to level up your characters, to max them out? Do you have actual team variety? A lot of the times your gear sometimes will limit who you're able to use, and then also if it takes you too long to max out a character or progressively level them up, that's also going to take you even more time and more time and then more time, and then eventually you just quit because your units feel crappy. Last question that I want to ask you guys: do you keep playing in a game if you don't feel like your characters are strong? Do you feel like, oh well, if I summon for a character, and another thing, I think FG3000 mentions this, you summon a brand new character and you can't even use them. Because there's a lot that goes into it, and unless you have a plethora of gear, a lot of things like in Epic 7, I would take, let's say, I'm using this as an Epic 7, right? Let's say this is the best gear for this type of unit, and let's say I get another unit that's similar to her. I would be able to take, upgrade this unit, right? And then pass this set down, right? And then you can keep doing that over and over again until you have multiple units really set up nicely, and then you're still doing it. But most of the time, you have one unit set up really nicely and another on some kind of bougie set that, you know, you're always gonna, I wish I could just do that. Luckily, this game and a lot of new games are removing the removal thing. You know, let me charge you to take off the gear for some weird reason. I hate that as well. The other one I think is artery gear, the last one that we'll speak on. And what I do like about artery gear is, now I'm gonna explain this very poorly. I just want to explain it very poorly. Like first of all, let me show that they do have the same thing, right? So they have I think it's target elimination. So they have 4, right? So very similar. We should start seeing that at the same time. 4 things. Each thing has 3. I like that. So as you can see here, they have this thing with unlock, and I think it's fuse. And please forgive me if I butcher this, right? Because I actually have never done it before, but I do understand the concept of it. So here, you could take a piece of gear and then put another piece of gear. I think I'm just gonna click another one. I don't really care. And you can see that trying to move some of the attributes, the secondary attributes, over to another one. Regardless of how it actually works, I like this because I can farm gear, right? And if I have a gear that has a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then I can make my perfect gear. Again, this goes back to what I was talking about as far as perfect, giving the player more control over what they have and be able to utilize it. The more the main attribute will be deleted. Oh damn, that's so sad. But as you can see, like, that's kind of what you want. You want to have that. I think Counterside has something else. I think I might have butchered over that. They might have the similar thing, but I wanted to use it in this game because I use Counterside for another thing. I want to use artery gear for another thing, but they have a very similar system to it as well. And I think that they should have that more. It gives you, allowing you to use the plethora of useless gear, but when that one useless gear actually has that one thing, that speed, that sub speed stat, that sub attack percentage, crit percentage, the final thing that I want. So I just said, hey, I want to make it that you go in and you make the speed thing, right? You can either make a mold, or you can just have it that you keep farming that one thing to keep getting the things, to get like the main stat and then the different slots. So I'm just gonna use speed. There's a speed dungeon. You go to the speed dungeon and you get all your speed gear, and then you flip and flop around the substats until you get exactly what you want. There's another version that I was thinking about where you take, similarly, you take you take a blank mold, right? You put the main stat that you want, you put the substat that you want, and then you farm up a currency to turn it into the set that you want. I think that would actually be the ultimate best way of doing this, if I'm being completely honest. That way, it's completely in your control, and that would make it even more hectic, because then instead, check this out, right? So I'm gonna use this as an example, attack percentage. I would have to go to a dungeon for that. Like if I wanted attack percentage in my substats, or hey, maybe make it in the main stat too, because a lot of these stats are the same, right? You can get a status resistance in this game anyway. You can get that as a main stat on certain pieces of gear, but you can also get it as a substat. So instead of it being that we're farming, or again, I would separate those dungeons too, but instead of it being that I'm going to farm the attack set, I'm going to farm the attack, attribute dungeon, or the, whatever you want to call it. I think that's how it should be. You go farm that so I can get the attack set, or maybe just in my version of a game, there is no thing. It's just like you just have 6 pieces of gear, and it does something. I'm just shooting stuff out of there. You probably still want the sets, but you just do that, and then you do it in the other way so that you don't have to sit there and farm one dungeon and hope for some more RNG and RNG and RNG and RNG. You farming specifically for material, like resources, and then you take those resources and you put it into exactly what you want. And I think that, in my personal opinion, would be a little bit better, and I feel like that would make gear farming a lot less hectic, a lot less, not even stressful, but just annoying. It's just The current way that we farm gear is just that you sitting there doing it. It's very monotonous. You finally build up a team. You build up a specific team to farm a specific dungeon, and you get random stuff. And the less, like I said, the less that's in that dungeon, the less time you have to spend in it, the quicker you can build up a team, and then eventually you finish a team. The people don't understand, and this is my last point that I'll say, is that when you finally finish a team, you can work on another. A lot of the times we don't get to work on multiple teams. The only people that have that courtesy usually are people that are whales, not really necessarily whales, but either you've been playing the game so long that you have accrued so much gear or resources or whatever like that, that you can do that. I really want to start having discussions like this, like I said in the beginning of the video. What else do you want me to tackle? I do want to tackle unit acquisition. I think that how you acquire units, pity systems and stuff like that is a big thing that we need to talk about and just have a conversation about. Pretty much you know, monetization. We could talk about that. How are these games supposed to monetize themselves in a way that is not egregious to us, or should they be monetizing themselves at all? Because I'll tell you one thing, especially on monetization, I'll leave you with this. I do find it funny that we tell games that to not monetize gameplay, progression, and stuff like that, just put it cosmetics, and then certain times the game puts out cosmetics, and then people are like, oh, it's too expensive. I don't know. What do you want the devs to do sometimes? I really don't get it. And I also have another spicy conversation. If you guys want another video, I wanted to have devs versus the community. Who ruins a game quicker? Anywho, I have a bunch of fun ideas. You guys let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.